Alright, good evening, you guys. I haven't made a video in a while. I was sick. I am just now ending up with the tail end of what they say the shelf life for this latest strain of COVID viruses. And my husband contracted the COVID virus, and in his case, it was deadly. And he passed away a couple of days ago. And I wanted to post the experience that we had with the hospital because I think that it is worth hearing. And so the politics that gets played from, one area to the next can be known because, thank you, we have we've been to this hospital many times over, several years. My husband didn't have good health. He had heart disease, kidney failure, and sugar diabetes. So he had everything, that is detrimental if you contract this disease. But anyway, so at first we were optimistic that he could come home, and then, the optimism went downhill as, things began to go downhill. And so the hospital has this thing that's called comfort care. And comfort care is when they take off all life-sustaining measures and they, have them meted up so much that they will, just slip off. And so the hospital would not allow anyone to come in until the patient had been moved to comfort care. And what they said to me was that it would be one person to be able to go in for 20 minutes, and everyone else had to gown up and, everything, and stand on the other side of a glass window because he was in ICU. And the person who was in for 20 minutes needed to be a vaccinated person. Well, we only had a couple of people in our family vaccinated, so that narrowed things down. However, somehow, some way, the protocol got changed, but within a few hours of that first day, that we talked about moving to what's called comfort care. And just a heads up for people, if your people go in the hospital and they do life-saving measures like intubate them, then there's only a certain amount of days that they will keep them on intubation. And there's huge medical reasons why that is the case. Intubation causes scarring in the lungs, and it's a mess. Anyway, so the doctor, gives me all of the regulations, and she said, I'm going to go check them now, and I'm going to call you back so we are very clear because the policies change, all the time. So she calls me back and says, this is what we're going with right now, is one vaccinated person in, for 20 minutes, and everyone else has to gown up and stay outside behind a glass window. And so then within, a few hours, there was the person that went in for 20 minutes didn't have to be vaccinated. And, there were some other things. Well, that information was given by a nurse that I don't know where they found her, but I thought that they found her in a broom closet sorting brooms and decided they needed some help So they pulled her out to help because she did not know a solitary thing about what happens when someone passes at the hospital. And she made phone calls that were in error. She called my daughter-in-law before she called me whenever my husband did pass away. She realized that she had the wrong person. So she said, I can't talk to you, and she hangs up. And then she called me. And then there were decisions that needed to be made for where my husband's body would be sent. And they called my husband's son, which they should not have called him. He was completely blindsided, and he, it scared him to death for the hospital to be calling him, asking them that. And it was because this young nurse, or whoever she was, did not know what in the world she was doing. And so then I had to have other family call me and say, you need to call the hospital and, talk with them. And it wasn't protocol for me to call them and talk to them. I had already, found out what is your process, how does this work, and me calling them was not part of it. Anyway, so she made that phone call, and I thought, it was terrible. It was, for my husband's son, that was a really terrible thing to happen, especially when he was, so raw from his father just passing. And I'm not trying to be nitpicky about the hospital, because it's just not gonna do any good. And so anyway, he passed before we went to the comfort care part of his passing. We didn't have to take him off of machines. He got to the point where there was just absolutely nothing else that the machines could do for him. His oxygen saturation level was at 47%. His heart was operating at 15%. There wasn't a machine or man that was gonna, do any good. So, you just... But anyway, so all of this business with the nurse and the wrong phone calls and everything else. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed now. I think we have everything under control. And then I get another phone call, and I said, hello. And it was the nurse on the other end of the line. And she said, hello, is this Allen and Dahl? Allen and Dahl is the mortuary. And I said, no, this is the widow. And I hung up the phone. I don't know. And it never, I'm going to put this in this video because I intend for this to be teaching. And whenever someone passes, all the family secrets come out. All the dirt, it gets told. It just happens that way. And the people that you don't want to hear from, because you know that they're calling you to be patronizing and to do the, nice thing, and they've actually been stabbing you in the back for years and years and years. And you just go, okay, thank you for checking on me. Oh, Lord God. That pushes my buttons. I just feel like, just don't. really should have been just, left alone altogether. And, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the family member is that passes away. People will cross boundaries of common decency even still. And it's like they wait until there's a situation like this and they swoop in and go boom. And anyway, I won't go into any detail about that. But I have to do what I have to do to be able to be accountable for myself. And I can't be pushed around, and I can't let other people I don't know. Anyway, maybe Lord willing, I'll make a video about a lot of this, because y'all wouldn't hardly believe it. So, there you are. That is and was my experience with COVID and the hospital and all of the garbage that goes along with it. It's a mess. It's a mess. And you can definitely feel the oppression and the manipulation from the government. And one of the doctors, she told me, she said, look, I cannot go against their guidelines. Even if I wanted to, I could not. She said that they literally have people that come and go in their hospital, and they are keeping track to make sure that everyone's following their guidelines, the CDC guidelines, or they will shut them down. They'll shut them down. So they have their little spies, running around. Wonder who's paying for that. Wonder who they work for. Anyway, all right, Lord bless you guys. I know that there are people that pray for me on a daily basis. And I want you to know that I feel those prayers on a daily basis. And I deeply appreciate them. And there's one woman, and I feel sure that if she hears this video, she's going to know who she is. I feel your prayers, sister. And I don't want to call your name out because I don't want to draw any attention. But I feel your prayers. I return those prayers. I love you and I thank you so much. All right. Lord bless you guys. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. It's just... all right. Lord bless you guys.